Rob Kellogg. Today we're going to talk about what to expect from OSHA after you've turned in your record keeping requirements online. If you haven't done that already, it's past due. March 2nd of every year from this point forward is the requirement to submit your injury and illness reports, your 301s. Let me correct that. It should be your 300 or your 300A according to the size of your company. We won't get into that here, but if you are at least 20 people strong in your company or greater, you are required to submit those injury reports in the construction industry. So there are some other industries out there that aren't required, but in the construction industry, tag we're it. So if you have done that, and then we need to understand that to what degree would you be concerned about OSHA wanting to come in and inspect not just your records, but start asking questions of why you had a sufficient amount of people getting injured during the course of that particular year. In this case, we're talking about 2018 activities. So how do we determine this? Well, we need to figure out what our incident rate would be. And it's a simple calculation, and you can follow along anyway you want to with your own gear. So our calculation is a simple formula, and we need to know how many injuries were recordable, need to be documented. So we'll get that number, whatever that is, and then we will multiply by 200,000. Once we have that simple calculation done, then we're going to divide it by the total number of hours you worked for that year. And that includes everybody, even our people from Ultimate Group. You need to include those hours that they perform tasks for you and make sure you utilize those during this evaluation. So with that, you need the number of hours, both for part-time, full-time, or temporary. Include everybody on your list that you put out on payroll. This is going to be needed in order to raise your divider so it reduces your rate. So let's just give an example. Let's say you have 2 injuries. So we'll say 2 injuries. So we'll multiply that by 200,000 hours, and then we're going to divide it by the hours that your company works. So for easy math, I'm just going to say your company worked 100,000 hours. So in this simple math problem, we're looking at 400K divided by 100K, which gives us an incident rate of 4.0. Now we have our incident rate identifier. Now we need to go find out how OSHA is going to compare that incident rate to your industry average rate. Now, industry averages are taken from a Bureau of Labor and Statistics survey on an annual basis, and they are random. So you may not get one. You might not be a part of that, but you will have that average for the industry put in place as the kind of like the benchmark for your NAICS code, and that's the North American Industry Standard Code, code system. A little dyslexic today, so it's going to be CS, NAICS. This is given to you by your insurance carriers, so they will identify what industry identifier you will have, and that's where you would find it. So either go through your broker or go through your carrier, and you should have that. A lot of times when you get reports from your work comp program, it will be on that work comp documentation. But if not, just give them a call and they should give that to you. So what happens is once you identify what your NAICS code is, which should already be on your 300A submission log, that's a requirement in that section to fill in. Once you have that, you then go into a website called bls.gov. bls.gov. All right, this is Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and you will go in and find your incident rate chart for that particular year. The most current one, in this case, 2017 is all you're going to be able to get right now. 2018 will not be available more than likely until the summer. So they take their time getting that out. So once you have your NAICS code, it can be as little as 3 digits, it can be as big as 6. And I've seen most of them in the 4 to 5 range is pretty much what you're going to be looking for. So once you compare that incident rate according to your identical NAICS code, then you can find out at what degree of exposure that you may have as far as having an OSHA compliance officer come in and start asking questions or do a review of your reporting system. So when you find that incident rate according to your industry standard, in this example, we'll just say it's 3.6 over the whole industry, and in this example, you're at a 4, that means you as a business are now above that average incident rate. This could flag you as a company for OSHA to come in and take a look at that. Now, being so close to the industry average, the likelihood of that happening is pretty slim. It still could happen, but it's pretty slim that that would actually transpire. What will happen is when you start seeing double and greater than the industry rates, meaning 7.2 or higher, in this instance being 3.6 the average. If you're 7.2 incident rate or greater than that, the higher you are, the more likely OSHA is going to want to come in and ask some questions. And they're going to want to see your documentation, your reporting processes. They're going to make sure that you can present those documents within a 4-hour period of request. And that's it. That's all you have is 4 hours. Physical hours. It's not business hours. It's physical hours once they request it. So normally they will do this in the morning time before lunch. So there's plenty of business opportunity afterwards for that to be presented. So just be mindful of that and make sure your ducks in a row now. Make sure you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and that you identify what a true recordable incident is, what our injury is, and that's also put out in the regulation. So if you want to go on to OSHA's website and look under the 1904.7, will identify exactly what those parameters are for documenting a true injury. Now, some injuries are not recordable, and those parameters will be identified in the 1904.7. So make sure you look that up. If you have any questions about that on how this is all developed, your reporting requirements, documentation-wise, make sure you have your 301s. Your 301s are your incident-specific documentation. They're the ones that you transfer on to the 300 log. Once your 300 log is developed at the end of the year, you produce the numbers and identifiers at the bottom, transfer those over into your 300-day summary report, and that's the one that you would post between February 1st and April 30th of each year. And we right now are in that zone for 2018 exposures. After which, you do not have to post them beyond the April 30th deadline, or the date, should I say. So you can take them down if you wish. I recommend that you do. The less material that's out and visible, the less OSHA has to inspect, for lack of a better term. So make sure you're doing at least that. Again, if you're having challenges with this, if you are 20 people strong or greater, and that's everybody in the business, you must do recording and reporting back to OSHA on their website in accordance to their program. So if you have a challenge with that, give me a call. I'll greatly give you a hand as best I can. With that said, remember, be vigilant out there. As management, we need to watch our culture and make sure that it's going in the direction that we design, not what the environment designs. So remember, always, safety is not a mindset, it's a state of mind. Thanks for watching.